the procrastination is the assassination of all destination. So just think about that for a minute. Yeah, that's definitely kind of my little secret sauce. I've been kind of cranking out the last basically year. There's two tabs when you go to post something on your story, and if you're in the business, I pretty much strictly use my Snapchat as a social media. It's a way to connect with people in a different way that they maybe don't even.
The trends change. The different platforms change. We were talking
TikTok got banned for a minute.
Yeah, TikTok got banned for a minute.
All right, welcome guys to episode 7 of the American Dream podcast. I'm Blake Waters with Insignia Screen Printing.
And Cole Nelson here with Maverick Construction.
So last episode we had Cole Rickles on the show. He talked about kind of how he got started into the concrete and excavation world, and kind of gave us a little insight on jumping into the CRM world. So there was some good insight there. Definitely some good takeaways. This week we're going to be kind of going the deep dive into the social media world and kind of what the organic social media world looks like.
And I think just to build off the social media world, there's a deeper dive that we'll do in the future when we're getting really dive into like ad spend and the PPC, LSA, all the fancy terms and all that kind of stuff. This time we're just going to focus a little more high level of getting in front of the camera and doing some of the simpler things that you can do that are very important. So again, we want to just reiterate the tasks. We had a challenge last week to do 25 tasks in a day, 25 challenges in a day. So we want to step that up here this week to 50. Keep challenging yourself, hold yourself accountable for the year, especially as we continue on here. We're getting into mid-February. Things are going to start ramping up. So make sure that you're holding yourself accountable and you're doing those tasks to make sure that you're booking your schedules for the year and staying busy. So
yep, the goal is to have too much work you don't know what to do with it all. So
yep,
just keeping discipline to those tasks every single day will get you there. I promise you.
Yep. So with the socials, where do you start? Let's maybe get a little definition of what is socials, what's organic compared to more of your paid side.
Yeah, so the organic side, and that's where we want to start on that because it's a non-paid like strategy. So you're not going out and spending all these dollars on paid ads that if you don't really have a good understanding of how social media works, it's going to be very hard to be successful, and you're going to get burnt out and think that it doesn't work. So the best way to start is with the organic side, and then those posts and content that's getting traction, you can then leverage those into the paid ad side because that the general public enjoys watching that type of content. So just kind of a back end of what the organic side of it looks like. And then there's tons of different platforms out there that you can post on. Some of the main ones are going to be your Instagram and Facebook, so the meta world. And then it'll be TikTok, and LinkedIn is even considered kind of that organic social media side of things. You're going to be building those connections and relationships.
Yeah, but even a new one that I didn't even realize, Snapchat has, like your friends and all that kind of stuff. And then they also have a public one. That's more of not necessarily an ad, but it's similar to that everyone can view and do that. So that was one that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, that's definitely kind of my little secret sauce. I've been kind of cranking out the last basically year. There's two tabs when you go to post something on your story, and if you're in the business, I pretty much strictly use my Snapchat as a social media. It's a way to connect with people in a different way that they maybe don't even realize that you're connecting with them. You see that stuff on Instagram and Facebook, and it's kind of the little bit more of a spray and pray type of method, but that Snapchat is a little bit more deliberate, and you have to accept the friend request and back and forth. So their guard is down a little bit compared to some of those other platforms. So just utilizing that, and it doesn't have to be crazy. You just post kind of what you're doing every single day and a little bit of an overview, and just look at it as it's a portfolio for what you do. So
So like what would be the first thing as a customer? What's the first thing that you're going to do? You hear about Insignia screen printing. What's the first thing that someone's going to do to look into you?
How are they going to find me?
Yeah, how are they going to find you? Or what even to make build your accreditation? What are they going to do first to know they can trust you with their project?
Sure, they're looking on the Instagram. the social media is turning into more of a search tool than anything. People are legitimately going on these tools and searching up your business, or even just like the tag that belongs with your business, like screen printing, and then you can be populated according to that tag.
Sure.
So instead of them going to Google and maybe searching that type of thing, they're going to be going to the Instagrams and Facebooks and searching. So, they're going to find our profiles, and we've kind of strategically tried to place that content out there to, you want to make yourself look good and presentable. So there's definitely certain, customers that we have in that we definitely like to showcase.
Yep.
Some higher level customers, and that just gives you some credibility that if those customers can trust you, then maybe they're good enough for me as well. So then that kind of helps close the deal.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think that's definitely a big piece of, showcasing the work and again, building that credibility, because everyone's on socials. Google views and all that stuff is definitely important, but sometimes the social medias can be a little bit more interacting and more visual for people to actually see the work, not just a review that's written out.
And the crazy thing about social media is that all it really takes is that one video to really hit it. And we have actually landed customers that we would have never landed before. It's like we'll be posting and you'll be getting 100 views here and there, and all of a sudden you get one that gets 10,000 views or something. Mm-hmm. And it didn't cost me anything to post it on those platforms. Yeah, you have to be a little, thoughtful about pulling out your phone and getting the shots and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it really wasn't a huge cost to be getting in front of these people, and
Mm-hmm.
that one post could land you a couple $1,000 job that you wouldn't have had before. So
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's a huge takeaway. Posting that stuff organically to any of those social medias is literally costing you nothing. Obviously, there's a little bit of cost, behind the scenes, but in the grand scheme of the marketing socials, it's literally nothing. So, doing the simple, videos, adding value is just so important, to showcase that work and spread that word.
And touching on the value side of things, and that's literally the most important part about doing your content is adding value, because if the second they think that you're trying to sell them something
Mm-hmm.
directly, people's attention span is about 3 seconds on social media nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So the second they think they're getting sold, you're already gone.
Yep. Yeah.
So
that's everyone's selling on the socials, and they just,
Yeah.
The scroll rates and everything are going so much higher because people are just so sick of people asking for business.
Yep. So even just one that we did the other day, it was like, you're indirectly talking about your services, and
Yep.
we were adding the value because we were showing them ways that they can increase the value of their the resale value on their house.
Mm-hmm.
You're adding that value to that potential customer. You're letting them know what they can do to increase the value, and
Mm-hmm.
then in the indirect way is like you're also talking about all the services you do.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going out just saying, "Come buy a roof and siding and all this stuff from me because I'm here."
The best. Yeah, I'm the best at it and whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's such a huge takeaway, because if someone wants to check their gutters and make sure that they're flowing and everything, that's great. And a good reminder to do that is always important, because they're going to remember that brand, take that away, and when maybe their gutters are deteriorated or they need to upgrade those gutters, they're going to remember that brand or associate it with someone that has actually provided them some kind of value to say, hey, I listened to your video and I actually cleaned out my gutters, and everything is good, but now I need this
Yep.
taken care of as well.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, just doing the right thing is going to be much better off.
Yep. Adding that value, and not thinking what you're doing is a secret sauce and you don't want anybody to know about it unless they're paying you for it, because that's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, no, I think that's a big component in any industry is, thinking that, you have some secret that the next guy hasn't thought of, or any of that. Really pushing that is important, and being consistent with all this stuff is great. I did a video the other day of just, a review on a roof. I mean, not every little piece of it has to be professional, right? People, can sometimes shy away from like a perfectly scripted, organized video, and that can be taken the other way. So I think there's a good mix in there.
Just doing that candid, organic, pick up your camera.
Yep.
Just hit record and see what happens.
Yep. And again, just kind of talking through, even if it's, what's your day look like, or what goes on during a roof replacement, or what happens behind the scenes of a screen print, in your shirt. Some people have never seen that process or even know what it takes to do some of those things.
Yep. And even if they aren't necessarily a customer, but they they just find it interesting to be watching that stuff. And
Hmm.
you never know if maybe they know somebody that is potentially going to be a customer. And people enjoy looking at things that they have no idea, like the process behind it. And yeah, just giving some insights on that, and just being kind of entertaining to the customer and informative is definitely important.
Yep. No, definitely. Do you think socials are replacing kind of your old school print ads, or any kind of old school method?
I think so, because your implementation is so much quicker. You can literally pick up your phone, do a 10-second video, and you can already be posting it. You have analytics that tell you everything that
Hmm.
is happening right in front of your eyes.
It's trackable.
It's trackable. That literally is the definition of marketing, is
Hmm.
tracking your numbers and knowing where you're getting leads from and everything. And that's a whole nother
Yeah.
conversation, but that all starts with good social media and
Hmm.
being organic and true to everything.
Yeah, no, and I think that the analytics behind it. Again, we'll get into that piece, but when you do have that hit of a video or that's where you can kind of double down on that one, right? And then that's when you start pumping, actually more of your paid services into that. So I think that's just a good piece.
Yep, and that's all just right in your pocket on your phone. You pick it up and you hit record, you make a video. If it doesn't work, either tweak it a little bit or do more of it, because consistency will get you there.
Hmm.
And just be ready to pivot when things aren't working, because yeah, if you do the same thing over and over and you don't get a result, that's the definition of insanity right
Yeah.
there. So
No, I think that's and that's kind of where that data comes in to make sure that what's working and what's not. That's and even I mean that can change throughout the year. That can change day to day. So really looking at those numbers and making decisions based on numbers is the biggest thing that you can do, especially when you start graduating to the paid side of things, where it gets expensive quickly, and then you're just kind of like you said earlier, spraying and praying.
yep, and people make the decisions, and it usually takes them about 6 to 8 different touch points before potential customers are going to decide whether they're going to go with you or not going to go with you. So would you rather go out there and spend a bunch of money on those touch points, or pick up
Mhm.
your phone and just start doing organic content?
Yep. And I think it's important too with the 6 to 8 touches. There's a lot of people that even if you're not getting a like, a share, or any of that, people are still seeing that or scrolling it. And again, it's that 6 to 8 touches. So they might not have
Engage.
any engagement for
Yep.
the first 2 to even 6, but on that seventh and eighth one, they've seen it enough times, or maybe it's a different video that you've pivoted, and now it's a little bit more appealing to them, or maybe fits their needs a little bit better. That's when you're going to get that engagement. So I think that can be a little bit misleading on your early on in your videos. You might not be getting a ton of views and say, this sucks, I haven't got that like instant gratification of
Yep.
the phone's ringing off the hook after the first week of doing it. You got to make sure to be consistent, continue to do it, and making sure that you're adding the value on your videos.
And don't be discouraged by those numbers if they are low, because I would trade 10,000 views and likes on a video for 50 if they were the right 50 views.
Hmm.
So yeah, don't think if you're not going viral that it isn't working, because it doesn't always make sense. Like your social media doesn't always have to go viral for it to get anywhere. Um, just being present, being consistent, and just um, adding that value and having a reason for posting more than just trying to land the jobs every single day.
Yeah, no, and I think that making sure that it is engaging, making sure you have a call to action. That was a very simple tweak that we had kind of made. When you get done with the video, engage that customer, ask
Yep.
them to engage in some kind of, whether it's a what their thoughts are, or maybe they're wanting to look at the service that you are providing. Having that call to action at the end of the end of your video, just to kind of engage those customers and see if you can get some kind of a reaction out of them.
With the customer's attention span being so short, my go-to framework for creating content, and it's just being a little thoughtful ahead of time. You want to create that hook. You want them to be engaged within the first couple seconds of them watching the video.
Hmm.
And then you add your value, and then you do your call to action. So you like Cole said here, you want to make sure you're at least adding something in there. Not that you're going to get a bunch of comments all of a sudden, but
Hmm.
just basically letting them know what is kind of going on here, and you'd be
Mhm.
surprised how much that helps.
Yep.
You know, even just when we ask for people to comment on the YouTube channels here and stuff for the podcast, you know, we're not getting hundreds of comments, but
Yep.
we get a few, and then
Yep.
the video where we didn't do a call to action, we didn't get any. So
Yep. Yep. And it's those little things that you don't see, but that's also the analytics that you need to to look at and realize how important some of that stuff is, to do, and making sure that you are paying attention to that and not just kind of rambling every time. It has to be that detailed to make sure you're getting those outcomes. So for someone, kind of just getting into it, how would you recommend they stand out? We talked about attention spans. How do you stand out from everybody else in that short time?
so trends are a real thing, and just kind of being aware when you're scrolling on that feed, not just monotonously scrolling and scrolling for your personal entertainment. Like obviously that's part of it, but just being like aware of some of those things and why they're showing up on your page,
Sure.
and then just putting your own twist on it to implement it into your niche. You know, it doesn't have to be in the roofing or screen printing
Mhm.
world.
Mhm.
Just kind of twist it and make it make sense into your niche, and those trends are getting on people's For You pages and getting tons of likes and all that. Not that that's the most important part, but that's what people are engaging in and they're enjoying watching. So
Yeah. No, I think that's a huge part. At the end of the day, again, there are no silver bullets, and it's monkey see, monkey do. You don't have
yep,
to recreate the wheel.
nope,
And like you said, I think it's a huge point. People think that it has to be, I can only look at roofing stuff, and that's it. I mean, I could be applying stuff from screen printers or, trucking or anything, any of the other, guests that we've had. It's all applicable across in that social media world.
yep. Don't try to recreate the wheel. Just hop on the train and just keep on a trucking.
Yep, and it's always moving. So you always got to be, the trends change. The different platforms change. We were talking a little
TikTok
bit.
got banned for a minute.
Yep, TikTok got banned for a minute. We were just talking about what was the photo thing that we were just
The
talking
carousel.
about?
So
Carousels compared to reels, right? Like
yep.
that's not something I've ever thought of, but like the trends that are always changing
Yep.
constantly. So
Don't get stuck in your ways, and there's always changing. And
yeah, no, definitely keep an open mind for those. What do you see if someone was just starting? Obviously, it's a little overwhelming to post on every single platform. Where do you start?
I think your Facebook and Instagram are honestly your easiest ones. For one, if you post on Instagram, you can link it up with your Facebook business
Sure.
page. So you're really only posting on one, and you're getting two out of the deal.
Sure.
Those have been around the longest that I know of,
Mhm.
and they aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
Mhm.
You can really, it's not as easy to grow on there as it is like your TikToks. Those get a little bit more viral and get a little bit more reach right away. But especially for these local, smaller town service-based businesses, you want to build that core following and have that quality portfolio that you can spread to people. And you can then link your Instagram feed right to your website. So it's an instant automatic gallery that's up to
Sure.
date with whatever the heck you're doing. So you don't
Yeah,
have to go on your
showcase your work.
website and update that every second. So just a little plug in there. Just, being active and getting out there. I think that those are my two that I would start with first.
Definitely start with. Yeah, no, I think that's a good place to start. That's where everyone, if you're a little more old school, that's where you definitely start, and it's a little more manageable than the other ones and less kind of trendy, trying to keep up with exactly how all that's kind of put together. I like to always add LinkedIn in that mix just because it's a simple platform, and building those relationships out. It's just, important whether it's other business owners. It's a little bit different content, I feel like,
Yep.
but it definitely is, kind of building that network of people that are in your corner, and more of your, I would say, B2B sales on that compared to like direct to customer.
I think LinkedIn gets overlooked a lot. Obviously, kind of in that corporate world, it's kind of a fixture, but in our small town world that we're in now, or
Mhm.
out here, I guarantee you most people aren't on LinkedIn like they should be, and there's so many
Mhm.
connections to be made on there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then when you start showcasing your work, again, just building that whole network of business behind you, and people get intrigued, especially if you have a video that, is a little more catchy and there's some information, and you're providing value. Some of those people look at that and maybe want to join that network and build off of that.
Yeah, and you can use your social media for networking like crazy. I've honestly met two of my best friends from social media, and I
Mhm.
didn't know them before, and
Yep.
it was just a simple DM of because we basically saw what we were doing, and it was similar, and yeah, one thing led to another, and yeah, now we hang out all the time, and we build a lot of connections, and there's been a lot of business back and forth, and
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't the initial goal in the beginning, but that's just kind of where that networking and it all started with social media and just kind of putting yourself out there
Mm-hmm.
and having that open mind that there are connections to be made. Even just simple of people commenting on your
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and you can just kind of connect and just kind of see if there's some sort of connection there past maybe their engagement on your post.
Yeah, no, I think that's a big takeaway, and that's almost just as important as that networking side and B2B side, to make those connections, and really drive that side of it home.
I even just had just this last week to speak kind of on the relevancy of that. I commented on someone's social media page that I've been following for a while, and then he shot me a message and was like, "Hey, you want to connect for a call? I'd be interested to hear more about what you got going on." And
Sure.
it was literally just last week, and I had a call with him a couple days ago, and again today, and he's going to be helping us implement some new CRM stuff, and
Yeah, that's
that
huge.
all just started from a social media comment.
Yep.
And he lives in Arizona,
Yeah.
nowhere near us at all. But
Yep.
I definitely, I liked what he had going on and what he was posting, because it's a portfolio of what he does on a day to day, and it kind of aligned with what I was needing at the time or am needing, and
Yep.
yeah, just kind of made that connection, just kind of open minded, and went into the phone call of just,
Yep.
see how that'll go. And
Yep. How many touch points was that before you made that DM?
that was quite a bit, actually, more than your 7 to 8.
Yep.
A lot of likes back and forth. Maybe it was right around there. I don't know. I've definitely seen his stuff a lot, but
Yep.
he liked a couple of mine. I liked a couple of his.
Mhm.
I commented on his. He commented on mine, and then yeah, just went on a call, and now we're probably going to be doing business here in the next couple weeks. So
Yeah, no, I think that's just a huge thing, like you said, and that, because that really builds your credibility and piques your interest when those things continue to pop up and you ask the right questions, and then it's going to keep popping up with all the algorithms and all that. But just continuing that engagement, putting yourself out there, is just a great thing to continue.
I think one of the social medias that kind of gets overlooked is the Google business profile. That really is like it's a higher level social media. It's not as engaging as you would have with your Instagram and stuff, but you can use it similar. You're posting all of your work on there. You're getting reviews, and you're building that portfolio and that repertoire of work that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just definitely don't overlook that side of things, and that all ties back into the SEO, building that out, which is going to be free. It's going to be organic, and it's going to drive traffic to your website.
Yep. No, and I think that's a lot of people they want to go spend money on everything right away, right? If I go spend money,
Magic
I buy the
wand, just
leads,
wave it, and
boom, phone's going to start ringing. And I think a lot of what we're talking about here today is a lot of people, you do truly have to walk before you run in these situations. Getting that SEO, all these organic things in place before you go spending money. You're building that credibility, like we said. You're building that brand awareness. You're adding that value. So when people do come to your, social media pages, website, Google My Business page, it's full of stuff. There's just the lords of information for whatever that customer wants to see, and that's just such a huge part, to make sure you have in line before you're going to go spend money and Angie's or pay per click or local service ads or any of that kind of stuff.
yep. Because if you don't have all your ducks in a row, and you go and dump money into that stuff, it's gonna flop, and then you're gonna be mad that you spent all this money, and then you're gonna think it doesn't work, but it does work. People are doing it. There's a reason those companies are still in business. So
Yep, no, definitely, and without getting too far ahead of ours, I mean, how do you track some of this stuff? At least at a high level, where do you even begin, even from the organic side, tracking?
I definitely need to get better at some of that tracking stuff, and that's what these new CRMs and stuff we're going to try and implement are going to help. It's going to kind of track when those leads are coming in, but you're going to definitely know that it's not your typical word of mouth, somebody that within your network. And even just when you get on that first phone call or email, just kind of asking them how you heard about you.
Sure.
They're going to be more than willing to tell you that, I seen you on Instagram, or I've found you on Google, or seen your truck driving around, and all that definitely plays into it.
Yeah. No, and I think, CRMs, we've talked about CRMs from more of the process and customer experience side of things. Not all CRMs are going to have like a full marketing, side. It's kind of a whole different animal in and of itself. So making sure that you either have a different one that you can kind of integrate together, and there are some higher level ones that will definitely offer you
Kind of
the whole
depends on
package.
your goals, like we talked about in the first episode, and then what stage of business you're in.
Hmm.
Like day one, starting out, no, don't even have a job on the books. You don't have to go all crazy and
Get the
overwhelm yourself, because people get so wrapped up in wanting to have everything perfect, and there is no perfect time. You just have to do it, figure it
Mhm.
out, and then roll with the punches.
Yep.
Everybody's gonna make mistakes, and you just learn from those and just keep on trucking.
Yep. So we've talked a lot about different social avenues, more in the organic. Again, we're going to dive into a deeper version of that, getting into more of the paid side. But just want to make sure, again, pick up that phone, do all sorts of the organic content, get that, organic, pages and showcase your work and all that. That's just a very important piece to do on that. So we'll
Just
kind of leave you with that.
just don't overwhelm yourself. Just start with one and just start getting that process figured out, and just make it a routine to post that stuff every single day, and then you can develop a better process to maybe post on more channels, and then once you start seeing that fruition into something, then you can kind of go all out.
Yeah, I mean, getting in front of the camera is the first time is like the hardest thing to do, and you might think it sucks, and you're going to be probably rerun it 40 different times, and that's fine. But just doing it that first time and then getting in the groove and stay committed to doing it, it'll get easier as time goes on, and then like you said, it'll get more processes and it'll get better and better as time goes on.
Exactly. And I want to leave you with a quote I heard actually from TikTok. I'll shout out the handle a little bit. The School of Hard Knocks, he goes around and interviews billionaires. And he got interviewed by a billionaire, which was kind of cool to see. And the quote he wanted to leave everyone with is, "The procrastination is the assassination of all destination." So just think about that for a minute. That goes back to there is no perfect time. That one really hits home for me, and just putting your head down and getting to work, and just blocking out all the noise, and just don't worry about what other people think, because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, they definitely don't remember after scrolling by your video in 3 seconds. So
Hmm.
just put your mind to it. Don't worry about what other people are thinking, and just make it happen.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a deep one, and definitely challenge everyone listening to truly think about that, in the deepest way possible, because there's a lot of truth to that. Don't let your goals or what other people think change what you're going to do every single day. That shouldn't have any part to do with it. If you have your goals and dreams, get out and get after it. That's part of the American dream.
Make it happen. So we'll leave you with that, and remember, today's a good day for a good day.
Yes, thanks everyone.
We'll see you guys next time.